So hello once again, dear students of class 10, and here we are continuing with the trial scene of the play, and let us see now what conversation takes place between Shylock and all the others present in the court, particularly Portia, and then we have Graciano and Bassanio and Antonio. Antonio has to pay the penalty of his bond, which now Portia has very cleverly avoided on behalf of Antonio. The case is now going on behalf of Antonio, and let us see what happens. So I'm scrolling up to the page which we should be doing today, and it's page 126. So Bassanio is ready with the cash, and Bassanio says, "Here is the money." He immediately tries to offer the money, which is, as we already know, provided by Portia, to be given to Shylock in order to free Antonio from Shylock's clutches. But Portia says, "Soft, the Jew shall have all justice, soft, no haste." The Jew, soft means wait, stop. This Jew, referring to Shylock, will get nothing but the justice. He will get all justice, nothing but the justice. So there is no hurry, no haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty. He shall get nothing but the penalty of the bond. He is not entitled to anything else, not entitled to receiving money, not entitled to anything else. He should only get the justice which he deserves. And that justice is nothing but the penalty of his bond, which he has been asking for so long. And Graciano, as usual, is so happy, and he starts shouting in joy. And he says, "O Jew, an upright judge, a learned judge." Do you notice it, Jew? This is a very upright judge. This is a very learned judge. Now, he is making fun of Shylock. Because earlier we have seen Shylock was talking about Portia in such terms, and now Graciano is doing the boomerang of whatever has been said earlier by Shylock. So he says, "You are a learned judge and upright judge. Shylock, are you listening to me, what I am saying?" And Portia says, Portia is not at all disturbed by Graciano's way of shouting. She continues with her usual proceedings in the court, and she says, "Therefore, prepare thee to cut off the flesh." Therefore, get ready to cut off the flesh. The pound of flesh which you said you are going to cut off from this merchant's nearest to his heart, that is from this merchant's bosom. Why don't you get ready to cut it off? Because you are only going to get the penalty of the bond and nothing else but the penalty. "Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less nor more." Now, while cutting the flesh, make sure that you don't shed even a single drop of blood, and don't cut slightest more or slightest less than exactly a pound. You have to cut exactly 1 pound of flesh, which is supposed to be the penalty which you deserve. So cut it, go ahead, take it. But just a pound of flesh. If thou cuttest more or less than just a pound, she also goes on to explain that if you happen to cut more or less than just a pound, then this is going to happen to you. What is going to happen? "Be it so much as makes it light or heavy in the substance or the division of the 20th part of one poor scruple. Nay, if the scale do turn," if the scale, the measuring scale, the beam balance, if it turns, if it is not exactly equal on both the sides, and if it turns even by the breadth of a hair, by the estimation of a hair, thou diest. If that happens, then you will be dead. She says very clearly that if you cut even 1/20th part of a scruple. Scruple is a very small unit of weight. Meaning is explained alongside. You can have a look. Scruple means a very small unit of weight, around 20 grains, not grams, but grains. So that's even lesser than grams. And if the scale, says Portia, turns by even the breadth of a hair, even 1/20th part of a scruple of such a small weight, if the two sides are not exactly the same, and if the beam balance tilts either to this side a little more or either to the other side a little more, if it happens, then thou diest. In that case, you will be sentenced to death, and all thy goods are confiscated, and all your wealth and fortunes will be seized or confiscated, taken away by the government of Venice. Not only will you lose your life, all your wealth and fortunes, your landed property, everything that you own will be confiscated by the government of Venice. So Portia has given a verdict. Now Shylock is in a very tight spot. And look at Gratiano. He cannot contain his happiness. He is shouting, "A second Daniel! A Daniel Jew!" Now infidel means non-believer. The one who does not believe in the faith of Christianity is called an infidel. So Shylock is a Jew. He is Jewish by religion, and that's why Gratiano uses the term infidel. Now infidel, I have thee on the hip. So you can see how ironical it has become. There was a time when Shylock had used this term in an aside before lending money to Bassanio and Antonio, that if I catch him upon the hip, I am going to take revenge of my insults. Shylock had said that long ago in Act 1. And now we notice in Act 4, Shylock is in a tight spot, and Gratiano using the same expression, saying that now I have caught you in a disadvantageous position. You have been caught in a position which is not to your advantage. So we have you now in our grasp. Portia can observe, can see that Shylock is not making any movement. He is standing like a statue of stone in the courtroom without doing the slightest movement. So Portia says, "Why doth the Jew pause? Take thy forfeiture." Why is it that the Jew has stopped doing anything? Why are you standing there? Why are you doing nothing? What are you waiting for? Take your penalty. Go ahead. Take thy forfeiture. Shylock says, "Give me my principal and let me go." Shylock does not want to take the penalty. He is able to understand that he is in deep trouble. So he says, "Please give me my principal amount." Earlier he had asked for 3 times the sum, and now he is only asking for his 3,000 ducats. He says, "Give me my principal and let me go." Bassanio says, "I have it ready for thee." Bassanio is always ready with money because he never earns money. It is not his hard earned money. So he is always ready to waste and give. He is once again saying, "I have ready the cash. If you want it, here it is." Portia says, "He hath refused it in the open court. He shall have merely justice and his bond." This man, openly in this courtroom, in front of everyone present here, including the Duke of Venice, when money was offered to him, he refused to take. He said he will not take money. He has an oath in heaven. He will only take his penalty. So he has openly refused it in the court. So now he will have nothing but the justice which is according to his bond. He will only get that justice. No money for Shylock. Graciano says, a Daniel, still say I, a second Daniel. I thank thee, Jew, for teaching me that word. I still say that a Daniel has come here. I thank you, Shylock, for teaching me that word. Now I can use it against you. So, he is making a mockery of Shylock once again. Now we come to page 127 on your screen. Shylock's speech, line 355. Shall I not have barely my principal? So Shylock is now, he is subdued and he is trying to draw pity from the people by speaking in a tone, in a lowered tone. Suddenly his adamancy, his arrogance, his tremendous attitude has disappeared, and he is behaving in a timid sort of way. In a very timid manner, he is asking, shall I not even get my original principal amount? Portia says, thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture. To be so taken at thy peril, Jew. You will get nothing except the penalty mentioned in your bond. And that too, you have to take the penalty at your own risk. Peril means risk. So you have refused to take money. You have said you are desperate for the penalty. You have an oath in heaven, etc., etc. Now why are you asking for money? You will not get any amount of money, not even your principal amount. You will only get the penalty, because you have always said here in this court that you want nothing but the penalty of the bond. So that nothing is therefore going to be provided except the penalty. Take it, and you have to take it at your own risk. Shylock, why then the devil give him good of it? I'll stay no longer question. So Shylock now gives up on his principal amount also. He says, let the devil give him the benefit of escaping from this situation. I will no longer debate upon this cause. I no longer want to continue with this case. I no longer want to debate on this case. And he wants to go away from the courtroom, and so he says, I will no longer stay question. Now Portia says, tarry, Jew, the law hath yet another hold on you. Tarry, Jew, the law has one more hold on you. You cannot escape so easily. It is enacted in the laws of Venice. If it be proved against an alien means foreigner in this case. It does not refer to flying saucers or UFOs. So don't get confused. So it is mentioned very clearly in the law of Venice that if it is proved against a foreigner that by direct or indirect attempts he seek the life of any citizen, that whether by direct method or by any indirect method, if any foreigner living in Venice, it is proved that he has been trying to take the life of any citizen, any proper citizen of Venice, then the party against the which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods. Then the person, party here refers to the person against whom such a foreigner had done such a misdeed, will be given one half of all his wealth and property. The other half comes to the privy coffer of the state, and the other half of his wealth and property will go to the treasury. Privy coffer means treasury of the state, that is state of Venice. So what we need to understand here is that the law of Venice says that if it is found that a foreigner who is living in Venice has directly or indirectly tried to take the life of a citizen of Venice, if it is found, if it is proved, then this foreigner's wealth and property, his money, whatever he owns, will be divided into two parts. One half will go to the victim against whom this foreigner has been planning or plotting, against whose life this foreigner had been plotting, and the other half of his wealth and property and money will be confiscated by the government of Venice, the state of Venice. So this is what is going to happen to Shylock also now. So that is what Portia is coming to. And the offender's life lies in the mercy of the Duke only against all other voice. And not only that, once it is proved that such a foreigner has really committed such an offense, not only will his goods and property and money will be taken away, his life will also be completely at the mercy of the Duke of Venice against any other voice. Nobody can appeal. Nobody can, in that case, appeal to the Duke to release such a defaulter. And only the Duke of Venice will then take the decision as to whether to award the death penalty to the offender or some other kind of punishment. So this is what Portia clearly points out to Shylock. And then she says, "In which predicament, I say, thou standest." Now Shylock, I have to say it here that you are now standing in the middle of this kind of problematic situation. Predicament is problematic situation. So now Shylock, you are in this trouble. First of all, you are a foreigner, you are a Jew, you are not a Christian, you have come to Venice from Israel. Secondly, you were trying to seek the life of a Venetian citizen, a Christian, and a very popular man whose name is Antonio. It is proved beyond doubt here in this court. You have said several times and earlier also that you want to take a pound of flesh from this man's body. So to cut off a pound of flesh from nearest to his heart would mean that he would bleed to death. Plus, you were told to appoint a doctor which you refused to appoint. You said it's not mentioned in the bond. So in every way possible it is proved that you were trying to take this man's life. So now, one half of your wealth and money, your property will go to this man, and the other half will go to the state, and your life will be at the mercy of the Duke of Venice. You stand in this situation right now, Shylock. This kind of problematic situation. I say, thou standest. You are now standing, that is what I say. For it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly and directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant. Because it appears through the proceedings of law here in this court, very prominently it has come out very clearly that both directly and indirectly you were actually trying to take the life of Antonio, the defendant here. And thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. And so you have brought upon yourself this danger which I have mentioned earlier. Formerly means earlier. Now, this is your situation. Down therefore and beg mercy of the Duke. Therefore, go down on your knees, kneel down before the Duke. The Honorable Duke of Venice is in the chair. Kneel down in front of him and beg for mercy. See if he will show you mercy. Otherwise, you will be hanged to death. You will be executed as per the law. Gratiano says, beg that thou mayest have leave to hang thyself, and yet thy wealth being forfeit to the state, thou hast not left the value of a cord. Request the Duke. Gratiano is again making a mockery of Shylock's situation and saying to him, kneel down and beg to the Duke that you should be hanged at the expense of the state. Because you don't have anything now. All your wealth and money is officially now half Antonio's and half the state's. So you have nothing. because you are left with no money at all, by means of which a cord or a rope can be bought to hang you. You don't even have enough money, or you don't have any money at all with which to buy a rope so that you could be hanged. So beg the Duke that you should be hanged at the expense of the state. Therefore, thou must be hanged at the state's charge. So you will have to be hanged at the expense of the state. So we come to the end of now page 127 and line number 381, Act 4, Scene 1. So we'll be stopping here for the day. I hope I have been able to explain the lines to you very clearly and in detail. If you have any question, any doubt with regard to any of the lines explained here by me, you can once again play that area of this video and listen to my explanation, and I'm sure you will be able to understand everything quite clearly. So that's it for today's class. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.